You know that feeling, right? Your brain is just a complete mess. You can somehow remember the most random, useless details from like a decade ago, but the stuff that actually matters? Nope. Gone. Poof. Today, we're going to figure out exactly why that happens. This question from a viewer, Jean-Claude, just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that feeling we all have. Is our brain just broken? A faulty container that's slowly leaking all the important stuff? Or is there something way more interesting, something much more deliberate going on inside our heads? All right, so let's tackle that leaky bucket idea first. It's a really common way to think about forgetting things. But as you're about to see, it's not just a little bit wrong, it's the total opposite of what's actually happening. So on the left here, you've got the old myth. Our brain is this passive bucket, and memories just kind of drip out over time. But the reality, over on the right, is so much cooler. Our brain is an incredibly active system, more like a bouncer at a club, deciding who gets to stay and who gets kicked out. It's not losing data, it's actively, strategically purging it.
And that right there is the absolute key to this whole thing. Forgetting isn't a passive accident that just happens to you. No, it is an action. It's a job your brain performs, and it does it on purpose.
I absolutely love this way of thinking about it from the source material. Forget the leaky bucket. Instead, picture your brain as this grumpy but super efficient mason. All day it's building, but all night it's looking at the structure, deciding which bricks are essential and which ones are just junk, and it's not afraid to tear things down to keep the building strong. So here's our new definition. Forgetting is not a failure. It's a feature. It's the brain's built-in cleanup crew, working to keep the whole system running fast and smooth. But when does all this tidying up actually happen? Well, it turns out most of this heavy lifting, this massive data purge, happens while you're asleep. Yeah, your brain basically clocks in for a night shift to clean up the absolute chaos of information you threw at it all day. And this whole operation kicks into high gear during a really specific phase of sleep called paradoxical sleep. Now, it's called paradoxical because while your body is totally still, your brain is lighting up like a Christmas tree. It is wildly active, sorting, filing, processing, doing all the work. The French actually have a perfect word for this, rangement. It literally means tidying up. And during this process, your brain is sifting through all the random bits and pieces from your day, what scientists call day residues. Think of them as the leftover scraps from everything you experienced. So, here's how that nightly reboot basically works. Step 1, your brain scans all those day residues. Step 2, it decides what's important and what's total junk. Step 3, and this is where it gets bizarre, it takes all the useless scraps and mashes them together into weird dreams. And finally, step 4, once they're processed, it hits delete on all that junk data. So, what does this great memory purge actually look like in practice? Well, let me tell you. This is where your weirdest dreams are born. Okay, just imagine your brain is looking at your files from the day. There's a file for seeing a photo of a dictator in a magazine. There's a file for playing Tetris for 20 minutes. And there's one for cutting an onion for dinner. Your brain's like, okay, is the onion file crucial for long-term survival? The Tetris file? Probably not. So what does it do? It smashes them all together into some surreal, nonsensical dream, just so it can process and get rid of them. You might dream of a dictator playing Tetris with crying onions. That bizarre dream is literally just the exhaust fume from your brain's nightly cleaning cycle. And the result is a much tidier, more efficient mind ready for the next day. But this all raises a really important question. Why? Why would our brains go to all this trouble just to delete information? Well, the answer is kind of mind-blowing. This process of forgetting is actually essential for your survival. And here's why that's so critical. You might think having a perfect memory would be the ultimate superpower, right? But it would be a curse, an absolute curse. If you remembered every single little thing from every single day, your mind would be so cluttered, so chaotic, you'd be completely paralyzed. You'd literally be unable to function. Imagine trying to make a simple decision, like what to have for breakfast. You'd be instantly flooded with a memory of every single breakfast you've ever eaten. It's impossible. You would just drown in a tsunami of useless data. So what this all boils down to is that forgetting is a form of energy-saving optimization. It is not a bug, it's a feature, a critical one, designed to keep your human hardware, your brain, from crashing. It's what allows you to focus, to learn, and to make decisions at all. Which brings us all the way back to Jean-Claude. The reason he can remember that 90s pop song but not where he put his keys is actually pretty simple. At some point, his brain decided that the emotional punch or the sheer repetition of that song was more fundamental to his life experience than the temporary location of his keys. It's kind of hilarious, but it's true. So the next time you forget where you parked or what you needed at the store, don't get mad at your brain. Instead, get curious. Ask yourself, what seemingly useless memory is my brain holding on to right now? And what does that say about what my mind truly believes is important? Stay curious.
With that, you'll certainly die smarter, but you'll still die. But before you do, don't forget to like the video and subscribe.